So our first chapter, security governance and through principles and policies. So security governance through principles and policies. So what is security? What is governance? What are the main principles and policies? If we ensure the security governance, what should we do? So we have to think from the managerial perspective each and every time. One thing it does, say you work in an organization, your job responsibilities is like the SOC analyst or SOC manager, or you are the member of the vulnerability assessment or penetration testing. So we are trying to achieve the certification, CISSP certification. So from today, after completion this exam, I request all of you, you should think like a manager. That means you are not only the head of IT, head of security, you are the security head of the world largest organization like Google, like Amazon. So you have to answer the question from that position. If you think you are in the mid-level people or your role is like the SOC analyst, most of the cases our answer will be wrong. Number one. Number two, we have to think the sustainable thing. That means our answer should be sustainable ones. So we'll know here security, what is the governance, different types of policies and principles to ensure the security. So here is the first domain. Each and every chapter may be the mixed domains. Say here chapter 1, it's considered the domain 1, security and risk management. So some option may cover domain 3 also. That means this is a mixed domain chapter. Each and every people have different types of strategy for the reading strategy. However, I always follow the official study materials, and I always prefer to use these materials because each and every question will come from here. So some people try to solve some question from the website or Google, different site, but we are not sure that the answer is right or wrong. But when we use the authentic source, authentic resource, authentic writer's document, then we ensure that most of the questions are right. Explanation is good because each and every reference they mentioned here. The professional, first of all, they asked about security. So security 101, that's mean fundamental security, fundamentals of security. So what is security? In the introduction section and very early in this chapter, they said that security should be viewed as an element of business management rather than an IT concern. What is the meaning of this sentence? Security should be viewed as an element of business management. So we have to think from the business aspect rather than IT concern. Without business, there is no value of IT. Definitely, we have to agree with this statement. To ensure our security of our business or to protect our asset, we have to implement different types of security tools, security things. It may be physical, it may be logical, it may be administrative, different types of security control we have to implement. So IT and security are different. IT and security are different. So what is IT and what are security concerns? Simply, we say that IT consists of three things: software, hardware, and network. This covers the IT. If we consider the IS, information systems, it's about the people, process, and technology. In this regard, we say that IT is the subset of IS. IT is the subset of IS. So here are three things. If I show you, for IT, it consists of three things: software, then hardware, and finally network. Software, hardware, and network. And for the IS, information systems, it's about the people, process, and technology. So what about security? Security is the core thing of information systems. So security is related to each and everything. Security is related to the software, hardware, or network. Similarly for the people, process, and technology. So it's a common thing aligned with IS or IT. So here the difference they said here: information technology or even information systems is the hardware and software support the operations or function of a business. And security is the business management tools that ensure the reliable and protected operations of IT or IS. Security exists to support the objective, mission, and goal of the organization. So this three thing is very important. Another thing is that evaluation. What is evaluation and what they say here? Once initiation of security, that's mean if we implement the security, we have to follow something. Say there are three types of security evaluation. If we want to evaluate how secure my system is, then we can do some things. And especially they mention three things. Number one, risk assessment. Number two, vulnerability assessment. Number three, penetration testing. So here one thing is that initiation of security is the first part, and under this one, security evaluation is another part. And how we can evaluate the security by doing the risk assessment, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing. So it's the introduction section. That's why we think it's a little bit easy for all of us. So vulnerability assessment, actually vulnerability is the weakness of a system. How secure my system, or what are the vulnerability, what are the weakness of a system. If we find out this one, this is called the vulnerability assessment. And if we exploit the vulnerability, or if we break the weakness, then we say that the system carry the risks. And to exploit the systems is the process of penetration testing. So penetration testing use trusted individuals to stress test the security infrastructure. So here we know something, say a risk assessment, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing. In the CISSP exam, you will not get any definition related questions. Each and every question is very relevant to the practical aspect. Practical knowledge is very much important here. And another thing is that they say security should be cost effective. So what the meaning of this statement? What's the meaning of the sentence? Security should be cost effective. That's mean as a security analyst, as a security auditor, when we assessment, say we find some vulnerability of a system, so we have to implement the control to mitigate the risks, to protect the system. So as a security expert, you have to suggest a system which is cost effective. That's mean we have to think about the return on investment, cost effective, and we know that management accept risk when the asset value is small than the control value. So if the control value is higher than the asset value, then management accept the risk. So security should be cost effective. If we ensure the security of a system which produce or which generate $1 lakh per annum, and if we want to implement the security tools whose value is more than $1 lakh, definitely management will not take the decision to implement the security because it's not a cost effective. The return on investment is not satisfactory level. That's why they will not accept the. So here, if we summarize this passage, this paragraph, they talk about the security first of legally defensible and cost effective. Number one, security is the elements of business management. Another thing is security is considered as the business management tools. Security ensure the reliable and protected operation, and security will always support the objective, mission, and goal of the organization. These are the security fundamentals. Very introduction, they say these things. So here I mentioned this one also. Security should be legally defensible. Security is a journey, not finished line. We cannot secure anything 100%, but we can mitigate some risks and we can ensure the acceptable level of risks. So if we want to understand the security concept, it's most of the people we know the CIA triad. CIA means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So here there are some basic things, say, as for example, for confidentiality, unauthorized people cannot see anything. Unauthorized people cannot see anything. So here, one thing is that a read operation is performed here. Basically, read operation is performed here. And if unauthorized people see or read information, actually confidentiality will be break. So when confidentiality will be break, we say that it's the disclosure. Disclosure. So opposite of confidentiality is the disclosure. Second thing is that integrity. So integrity is the option where a read option plus write option is performed here. Unauthorized people, if unauthorized people read anything as well as they change or modify the data, then the integrity will not be maintained. It's another problem. So write operation is the main concerning here. So if the integrity is violated or when the integrity will be violated, we say that the data or information is altered. So opposite of integrity is the alteration, change, modification. So when unauthorized people modify or change some data or information, we say that the integrity is violated. And another thing is that the availability. So you are the authorized user. The organization give you permission to change, to modify. Actually, they give some opportunity to make the operation of the systems or application. So you are the valid user. When you want to access the system, actually the system did not allow you, you face some problems. So you face some problems, that means there have some problems here. Say they show some message like 404 page not found, or the server or the page is buffering. This means that they cannot allow you to access the systems. So what's the main reason? The main reason is that some unauthorized people may try to access your systems and they make the system very busy. And for this reason, the authorized user cannot access the system. This is the main fact. So when we cannot ensure the availability, then we say that the system is unavailable, and we say the system is destroyed. So destruction is the opposition of availability. At a glance, we can say that the opposite of CIA is DAT, disclosure, alteration, and destruction. So our main concern is that how we ensure these three things, how we ensure the confidentiality, what types of mechanism we have to follow here, what types of mechanism we have to implement, what types of tools we have to implement to ensure the integrity, and how we ensure the availability, what types of systems we have to ensure here. Because we know data stay in three stages. Our main concern is about the data. We ensure the confidentiality of the data. We ensure the integrity or availability of data. Because data is the raw material of information. And in the system, we have to ensure the security of the data. So we know data stay in three stages. First of all, data at rest. Say, as for example, when the data stay in the server or your mobile device, anywhere. And secondly, the data in transmit. Data in transmit. So that's mean sometimes we say that transmit or data in motion. Data in motion. When data go from one place to another, like uh, you work in a bank, so from the branch, we have to access the central database by using a web application through the browser. So what we do here? Sometimes we have to insert something. Say one customer want to open the account, and in that time we give the permission or we enter each and every data of the customer. Ultimately, the data we entered from the branch and stored in the central server. So by using the network or by using the cable, the data transmit from branch to head office. If we want to access some data or if we want to see some report from the central server, we browse this one. So from the head office, the data or information goes to the branch authorities. So this process is the data in transmit or motion. So how can we ensure the security of this of these things? This is the issue of the data in transmit or data in motion. And another thing is that data in process. Data in process. So what is data in process? Data in process is the stage. Sometimes the data may be stored in the cache or in the ROM or RAM. So in this area, how we ensure the security of the transited data or the virtual data in the virtual environment. So we have to ensure the security of data because data stays in three stages. So we learn something: confidentiality, integrity, availability, as well as data at rest, data in transmission, data in process. So dear professional, actually in the CISSP exam, will not get these very easy questions or easy things. So I always say that when we read this one, these topics say here confidentiality. So what the goal of the confidentiality? To protect, to prevent or minimize unauthorized access of data. Confidentiality violation can result from the action of any or a system administrator oversight in the security policy or misconfigured. So this is the cause how security may be break. Another thing is that different types of countermeasure. That means how can we ensure the confidentiality? Say here there's some mechanism like the encryption, network traffic padding, static access controls. So you will get the question from this option. So as for example, they create a question. Which of the following is the best option to ensure the confidentiality of data? So if we know the example or the instance of the systems or these things, mentioning things, then we can give the answer. And we will not, definitely will not ensure the confidentiality of each and every data. Most important, most critical data, we have to ensure the security. As for example, depending on the sensitivity, creation, criticality, or concealment, secrecy, privacy, seclusion, and isolation, we have to ensure the security. So concealment is a important topic. So what type of question we'll get in our exam? Say as for example, we read this option. If we search this option, then we have to see the main question. What types of question may come here? Or as for example, the most efficient and effective tools is ChatGPT. So if you want to make a question, say in the ChatGPT, we give order, please create a CISSP question on say here I write a CISSP question on concealment. Just you write the question and you will get a question. So you will not see the answer first of all. You just try to solve the question first of all, then try to know each and everything. So can you please give the answer of this question? You just give the answer in the in the chat. So we get some answers, say A, B, C. Option A, B, C. Then okay, most of the people, you answered the answer is A. Correct answer is A. So how we go to eliminate the system, or here the main question is, in the context of information security, what is the primary purpose? So primary purpose is one of the key word here. One primary purpose of concealment as a security control, and which of the following scenario best illustrate its purpose? So we have to find out the primary purpose of concealment. So here four options may be correct. However, we have to find out the primary or best option. So first of all, they say that encrypting sensitive data before storing it in a database to prevent unauthorized access. So concealment, there are some topics is say that encrypting sensitive data, only sensitive data, or only by the encryption before storing in the database. So they're talking about the data in transmit or data in process. They're not talking about the data in rest option. Option B is saying that implementing a firewall to block unauthorized network traffic from entering a secure network. So they're talking about the firewall to block the unauthorized network traffic. Concealment is just a cover of systems. So if we consider A and B, I think A is better than B. Using stenography, so we have to learn what is stenography. If we don't know the definition or the process of stenography, we can just search this one in Google. So it's about they just hide the information, the real information in a image. It's the process of stenography. So we can search this one from here. The main concept of CISSP is that we have to ensure, we have to clear our concept. It's the process. That means the message is hide into this one. The message is in this one. So that means something is hide in a picture. It's about the stenography. Option D is requiring multi-factor authentication to access a company internal network resource. So there are two options, is option B and option D is relatively less important. These two option is relatively less important. So by this way, say where our main confusion is in option A and option C. So how we eliminate or how we find out the best option? So first of all, you have to think how to eliminate the option, number one. Number two, after find out the main two option, we have to read more details about these things. You will get lots of time in your real exam. You will get lots of time in your real exam. So if we consider the option A and option B, They say that option A is the right option. So when we go to the explanation section, our main confusion was in option C and option A. As for example, some people also answer option C. But most of the professional, you answer option A. So we have to find out why C is not the correct option. You will get the explanation here. So why you search this question in the internet? You can get help from the ChatGPT, but you have to understand each and every option. The explanation is very much important if you want to make clear your concept. And first of all, you have to search this one. Say, as for example, we read about the secret, right? So we're read about the say confidentiality. Confidentiality. So you will get some question here about the confidentiality. Say here is a screen. They say that what types of attack has occurred. That's mean we know that it's the ransomware attack, right? So ransomware attack is related to which one? Availability, confidentiality, disclosure, or distribution? Which one? Can you please answer the question in the chat box? Wonderful. So yes, the correct answer is definitely A, because when the ransomware attack, main target of ransomware attack is unavailable the data. You cannot access the data is encrypted. Hmm. There are a lots of example is related. This one. So another thing is that say integrity. If we want to search some person related to integrity, you will get the information here. So here they say something say like numerous attacks focus on the violation of integrity. So what types of attack may hamper the integrity of the systems? It may be the virus, logic bombs, unauthorized access, error in application, malicious modification. So say examples, they prepare a question. Which of the following is a authentic reason to violation, or which of the following is the main reason of information systems integrity? How information may be altered or modified. So, yes, may they may write some example from here and for also from another option. So we have to find out the main reason. So the main concept is how we ensure the integrity. So here integrity is depend on the confidentiality and access control. I'm trying to show you how you have to read the option. So when you read things, say you read the availability, so you have to know how we ensure the availability, what are the main reason to ensure the availability, and how availability may not be ensured. So when you read this passage, then you have to find out some question from the authentic resource. So say, as for example, I search some question from here. So availability. Availability. So here's some as for example, this is section. Which of the following risk is related to confidential. No, no. You just find out the ability. Say, for example, we can search from here also. You'll get lots of questions related to the availability. So you can say, as for example, here you get CIA related 10 questions. So you have to solve this 10 question. If you miss any question, that's mean your concept is not clear. You have some confusion here. So when you read passages, topics, and try to solve some question related to the topics, then your concept will be clear. And you can underline or you can mark your document here. If you want, you can print out the document. You can use different colors, and you can take some side note here also. Here you can take some side note. Why? Because before the exam, the most important thing is that you have to take some note, your own note. It will be very helpful for you, because you will not, it's not possible to see a huge space, say here 100, 1250 pages. If we want to complete this, or if you review this manual within 1 week, it's not possible. That's why you have to take the special note. You can maintain a diary, or beside the page you can take a note here, and this place is very much important. And a different authentic source, say a DID, that's mean disclosure, alteration, and destruction, is the opposition of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Here they says some another thing is that here some option about the I4A. Let's say identification, authentication is related to I4A. So what is I4A? So first of all, we see that CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and the opposition of CIA is DAT, disclosure, alteration, and destruction. Another thing is that identification, I4A. I4A. It's a security main basic concept. I4A. So what is I4A? I for identification. I means identification. Identification. What is identification? Identification is nothing else, is your user ID. When we are going to log in our Gmail account, first of all, we have to input the Gmail. The Gmail is your identification. If we want to log in a system, first of all, we have to input the user ID or username. This is the identification. And if we input the user ID and we log in, can we access the system? Definitely no. We have to prove that you are the owner of this ID. You are the owner of this ID, so you have to provide the password, and its password is related to A for authentication. So identification and authentication is nothing else, just your user ID and password, which is considered as the first line of defense of a systems in the security perspective. So if you can log in the system by providing the user ID and password, can we access each and everything? Can we see each and everything? Can we browse each and everything? Definitely no. So the system administrator or management give you some permission, what types of work you can do. And this permission is talking about the authorization. How, in which area you are the authorized user, you can access this one. This is the authorization. So authorization is related to right or role. So management give you some role or right. You can do each and everything. Say you can delete some message, you can insert something, you can make some transaction. So is it possible to do some unauthorized something? Yes, definitely yes, because you have the right. But you are the accountable of that job, which is unauthorized, which is not permitted from the management, permitted from the organization. So each and every work using your user ID, you are the accountable people for that work. However, you are the authorized user, but if you do any unauthorized activities, then you are the liable of your job. And this is called the accountability. Accountability. And final A for auditing. So how we ensure or how we find which user do the unauthorized things? By doing the auditing. So auditing, we can see this one from by seeing the audit log, audit trail. So these things are very much important. Besides this, we see something like non-repudiation. You are the owner of your ID and you provide the credential, that's mean your password. So if you say that you are not doing this one, it will not acceptable. Why not acceptable? Because you are the owner of the ID and only you know the authentication, only you know the password. After making a transaction, after doing something, you will not say that I am not doing this job, because you are the accountable of these things and you will get the information from the audit log or audit trail. So I4A is very important in this regard, in this area. So here is the I4A. So as for example, we are see some non-repudiation. So what type of person may come from the non-repudiation section? You just search this one, non-repudiation. You will get some question here. So we have to answer this one, and if our answer is correct, then we'll ensure that our concept is clear. And by this way, we have to read this one. Say, if we see this, just a minute, some question we can practice here. So can you please answer this one, 55? What will be the correct answer? Please answer in the chat. So all of you give the correct answer. Okay. So it's the correct answer. I will share the WhatsApp link here. However, most of the WhatsApp quota is fill up. But if there any available, you can join. I will share the link here. So security mechanism, we're reading here the security mechanism or principles of policy and security, how we implement. So protection mechanism, how we ensure the security. Say there one thing, defense in depth. Another name of defense in depth is layering, layered security. It is use of multiple control in series. So here one option is that sometimes the question may come like that. How defense in depth ensure the security? By option may be like that by uh, parallel control, by implement the parallel control or other things. But we have to know that the in the defense in depth mechanism, multiple control implemented in series wise. So, for example, uh, say here we can make a question in the defense in depth. Say, write a question for CISSP. One defense in depth.